Welcome back. Good morning. You're still watching Thursday's edition of the Diamond Breakfast. We appreciate you joining us. In a little bit, we'll be speaking to Kedis Kaunda, who is a foreign policy expert and a media consultant, and we get to speak foreign investor confidence in Zambia. We also get to speak to Transparency International Zambia. The president in Sampaka Lungu will be joining us as we focus on the fight against corruption. Do you think that investigative wings have made headway, especially when we look at the corruption fight in Zambia? We have a couple of comments coming through from our Diamond TV Zambia Facebook page, and very soon we'll get to read up and catch up on some of those comments with you, as we get to also allow you to call in and have these discussions with us right here on the Diamond Breakfast. Now, let's speak all things mental health. This is Mental Health Awareness Month, this particular month of May, and there is so much that we can discuss, especially when we speak about this, but it's these conversations that we need to continuously keep having. And how can we really make mental health work in Zambia? We are joined by Chisala Bwalya, who is the Executive Director for Center for Research, Consultancy and Advocacy on Gender-Based Violence. And we're speaking on Mental Health Awareness Month and them and some of the activities that they have been carrying out for this particular week. Mr. Chisala Bwalya, good morning and welcome to the Diamond Breakfast.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me this morning.
Let's quickly get into it and speak on this conversation that some people would obviously evade having, and how people generally would just not talk about mental health because of not knowing how to come out into the open and mention what they're dealing with. But from your end as a Center for Research, Consultancy and Advocacy on GBV, how do you think mental health can work here in Zambia?
Well, maybe for starters, I think coming to understand what mental health is, we're basically talking about the psychological, we're talking about the social well-being, we're also talking about the emotional well-being of different people around. But I feel there is one thing that has not been tackled. There's one question that has not been tackled. What are the root causes of mental health illnesses around? Because everyone is talking about mental health, but in order for us to really, put up recommendations or, discuss this phenomenon, to its highest levels, we first need to understand where mental health is coming from, okay? So I feel the root cause of mental health, understanding it is vital. And when we do that, I feel it would be very easy for us even to put up recommendations and solutions that can work in the betterment of our people around who are facing those mental health issues.
Well, we have established a few things here, obviously, that will build up or lead into having to see one become mentally disturbed. And there are a few things that we can obviously recognize here. People suffering from excessive depression, anxiety, and things like that. But with regards to having to recognize some of these things, and we know the root cause of having to see one not be mentally stable, what are some of the things that you feel we can do to continuously keep pushing this agenda of recognizing mental health, especially when we speak of mental health awareness, this Mental Health Awareness Month?
Yeah, awesome. I feel, okay, for us as an organization, one thing that we're trying to focus on this particular weekend, this whole month, is breaking the silence on mental health issues. Because a lot of people that are going through a lot mentally wise, and it's very difficult for them to come out and share what they're going through, with those around them. But I feel the more lasting solution to this is, from what our organization is doing, is creating safer environments for people who are going through mental health issues, okay, to live, to grow, and to develop. Now, on top of that, what we're also trying to promote is people having access to therapy. Because you find that even when someone is going through, these mental breakdowns, it's very difficult for them to just access therapy because most people don't believe in therapy. So we're also trying to promote that, to say it is okay to seek for help when you have a mental health issue. You might be going through depression, you might be stress, or many other things that are going through any other mental disorder. So it is okay to seek for help. Therapy works and therapy helps. So we have created that that safer environment with our clients, because now we're receiving a number of people at our center, and we're trying by all means possible to journey with them and help reason with them with what they're going through, and just help them reflect through the process and find a solution to whatever that they're going through. So I feel therapy is the way to go. And also, one other thing, dealing with mental health issues should start from homes, and from homes where different people are coming from. You see, parents and guardians have a huge responsibility in ensuring that they create safer spaces, especially for their children. You agree with me that today we're finding a lot of cases that are coming up saying, oh, this 14-year-old girl committed suicide, 16-year-old boy committed suicide, 21-year-old boy committed suicide, and many other things that are coming in. But these are children or kids that are coming from homes. So the question that is there is, what are parents doing about that? What are their guardians doing? So we are now encouraging parents to ensure that they create healthy and conducive relationships with their children and with their guardians, so that even when they are going through a mental breakdown, it will be easy for them to say, hey, mom, dad, I'm going through this. What do you think I should do? Then the other thing is, parents should also have a level of emotional intelligence, that they should be able to read the signs, to say, you know what, my daughter has always been this jovial, but for the past days, she's not been like that. What is going on? It's not every child you find who's quiet in a home who is an introvert. No, it is not. And some parents, misread all that, because for them, they'll even tell their friends, no, my son doesn't talk too much. He's just quiet, he's an introvert. But you might never know what that child is going through. Maybe they're undergoing some abuse from school, or maybe there's someone who's abusing them in the community. So I feel these are some of the things that we need to read beforehand in order for us to be able to handle and attend to these issues.
I love that you bring up the issue of therapy, and let's be realistic here.
Yeah.
Therapy is generally just expensive. Therapy is expensive.
Yeah, true.
And I hear you have brought up one cheap way of being able to get therapy. That's obviously if children are dealing with something, they can open up to their parents, and a parent could pose as a therapist to this child. But what kind of cheap therapies do you think are available that we are capable of looking into if we do not have parents or guardians by our side?
That's a great question. Firstly, for our center, there's pro bono counseling and therapy. We don't necessarily go out there and ask for money from people. Ours, we are coming on board to help the situation, because we realize that not everyone has that money to pay. Of course, that is true. Therapy is expensive in some of these counseling centers. You go, they tell you that no, for 1 hour 500 kwacha, 1,000 kwacha, and it's not everyone who's able to afford that. So we're trying by all means possible to bring this kind of a service to the lower level society, that they should be able to have access to this. I know a few friends also that are running these services, and it's free. It's open. Anyone can go there. There's a lady called Felicitas Nalungwe. She's running Felice Counseling Center, and it's free. You go there, you seek for help. They're going to help you, journey with you throughout the process. And many other people that are working out there. There's also a lady called Rachel Maweza. She's also running a counseling center, and it's all free. So what we are trying to do is to just give that service to our community, give back, because we understand that not everyone has the capacity to afford counseling. So we're just giving it for free. Yeah.
Men tend to not open up, especially when we speak of mental health. If they have some form of instability, when we talk about mental health, we get to see women be more open and they speak on these things. What kind of advice would you give to men, especially during this particular month of commemorating mental health? How would you encourage men to speak up more?
Awesome. From what I've been reading, I've come to understand that women are more naturous, and they're able to open up even when they're facing these things, they're going through something. They're free to open up. But for us, for men, we tend to bottle up these issues, and that is dangerous, because the more you bottle up these issues, the more they build up, and the more they build up, the more pressure you have. And as you go along, these are the things that are finding that because the majority of the people that commit suicide in this world today are men. Okay, so what are we trying to do? I feel men should be more open. Of course, we're coming from a community and a society that has put men in a particular faction, a particular border to say a man needs to be strong. When you go to a funeral, if people see you crying, they'll be like, hey, you're weak. Stop crying. Crying is for women, you know. When you show any kind of, you cry, they'll tell you, no, a man is supposed to be strong. You're very weak. You're trying to behave like a lady. There are all those things that come along. But let us also look at some societal structures that have been built around men that do not allow them to come out, even when they're undergoing a mental breakdown or a mental illness. So I feel we need to encourage our male folk, more especially, and this starts from childhood, okay? We're still going back to homes. This starts from homes. Parents should be able to create conducive environments and initiate honest conversations with their male children in homes. They need to tell them pain is part of life. Mental issues are like any other disease. You might be going through stress, you might be depressed, but feel free to open up even when you're going through that. I feel we can do more if we're able to look at this issue from the grassroots, from the childhood perspective, because when a child is growing up in a home where they are free to open up to their parents, it will be very easy for them to journey through life, because they will know that every time that I face this, I might go to dad, I might go to mom, I may seek for counseling. So like Abuchung said, Mamona na eve amalila. So let us not restrict ourselves even when we're going through certain things. Let us open up. Okay, there are a lot of people that are willing to help out there. So don't struggle alone. Don't suffer alone in silence. We are here to assist and to journey with you.
Shout out Bwalya, Center for Research, Consultancy and Advocacy on GBV Executive Director. Thank you so much for joining us this morning on the Diamond Breakfast.
Thank you so much for having me.
We're speaking all things mental health Awareness Month, and this being a week that they are raising awareness, especially when you speak about mental health. That is the Center for Research, Consultancy and Advocacy on Gender-Based Violence.